call the meeting back to order and go back to open meeting.
This proclamation is to rescind our membership in the No Place for Hate. We cannot join with the ADL when they refuse to recognize the genocide, and this proclamation will end that partnership. And my hope is that it will be unanimous, and I will go to my colleagues in other communities to do the same and to vote against the No Place for Hate because of the ADL partnership. Whereas the Town Council on July 12, 2005 voted unanimously to proclaim Watertown a No Place for Hate municipality. And whereas the Town Council committed to fulfill the criteria in good faith, to join with its sponsors, the Anti-Defamation League, ADL, Massachusetts Municipal Association, and other coalition members to take specific actions to combat bias and promote respect for people. And whereas the Town Council has become aware that the ADL denies the facts of the horrific Armenian genocide that occurred from 1915 to 1923, in which the premeditated, systematic, and deliberate murders of more than 1.5 million Armenians took place, as well as continuing to deprive the Armenian people of a right to their history. The Town Council cannot continue to join with such an organization. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town Council of the city known as the Town of Watertown hereby rescinds its partnership of the No Place for Hate co-sponsored by ADL. Be it further resolved that the Town Council of the city known as the Town of Watertown, although it withdraws from the aforementioned group of municipalities, hereby proclaims that Watertown will continue to celebrate its diversity and continue to honor its tradition of tolerance and respect for all people, for which it has always been known.
I'd like to recognize Mr. Will Trombley at this point.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the Council, Mr. Manager. My name is Will Trombley, and I am co-chair of the Watertown No Place for Hate Committee. Sergeant David Sampson is the other co-chair, and he and I are here on behalf of the Watertown No Place for Hate Committee to share with you the committee's response to the Anti-Defamation League's denial of the Armenian genocide. Last evening, 13 members of the No Place for Hate Committee met personally with Andy Tarsi, director of the New England region of the New England Regional ADL office, along with two of his associates. We asked Mr. Tarsi for thorough clarification of the ADL's position on the genocide and the rationale behind it. We expressed to him our strong objection to the ADL's position. In this meeting, we learned that while the ADL acknowledges the massacre of over 1 million Armenian people between 1915 and 1923, the organization does not call this a genocide. We know that the ADL has not supported proposed legislation in the U.S. Congress that would recognize the event for what it was and pressure Turkey to do the same. I speak for the committee when I say emphatically that we find the ADL's position unacceptable. By not fully recognizing the slaughter of the Armenian people as genocide, and by not working to influence all nations of the world to set the historical record straight, the ADL is ignoring a clear moral imperative.
My name is David Boyaja, and I live at 8 Mount Ida Street in Newton. It was my letter to the Watertown tab that originally brought to light that the human rights group known as No Place for Hate has no business being sponsored by the ADL, whose leadership has long dishonored itself by lobbying Congress to diminish and deny the Armenian genocide. For the past months, there has been a massive outpouring of support for Armenians by Jewish scholars and grassroots individuals embarrassed by the ADL. For example, May 18th, the Cleveland Jewish News genocide scholar Alan Rosenbaum wrote, quote, Unlike Abraham Foxman of the ADL, I believe that no political considerations are sufficiently worthy to falsify or ignore genocide. I respectfully request that the Town Council withdraw its endorsement of No Place for Hate. Thank you.
Mr. President, councilors, my name is Armenian, 50 Watertown Street, Watertown. I ask the Watertown Council respectfully to dissociate itself from any activity and program initiated or endorsed by special interest groups. Thank you.
Mr. President, distinguished councilors, John Damasio from Copeland Street. Regardless of what the No Place for Hate Committee does with respect to their relationship to the ADL, Watertown is still tied to the ADL by the fact that the previous council passed a proclamation, and this council reasserted it. So they could divorce themselves tomorrow from the ADL, effectively just, getting rid of the program. We're still tied, and as long as we're still tied, we're condoning their position. So this council does need to have to rescind that proclamation. The burden of proof needs to be on the ADL. So if we rescind this thing and the ADL finally gets its act clean, they can come before us and we can talk about a proclamation and we can address the other concerns. But in the meantime, Watertown has always been a great and diverse community. And the best thing that we could do for the No Place for Hate Committee in terms of strengthening them is to tear down that silly sign and ship it back to the ADL postage too. I thank the council for its time.
Good evening, Mr. President, councilors. Lois Mastrangelo, 267 School Street. While the Armenian community has focused the debate on the ADL's denial of the genocide, I would like to broaden the scope of this discussion, as there are other individuals, organizations, and communities who are also aggrieved by the ADL, and few know this story. The ADL defames anyone who dares criticize Israel or expresses views and analyses of the Israel-Palestine conflict that the ADL construes as pro-Palestinian. In the last 30 years, the ADL has used its formidable resources to stifle debate about U.S. policy towards Israel, to monitor individuals and organizations and provide intelligence to local police departments, while defaming anyone who dares question ADL positions. Because of ADL labeling tactics, segments of our society, including the Arab Muslim community and Jewish peace activists, have been condemned in a climate of suspicion reminiscent of the McCarthy era. I believe Watertown should sever its relationship with the ADL and its No Place for Hate program. The Watertown community includes dedicated and creative citizens who can develop our own program, one that truly embraces diversity and respects differences of opinion. Thank you.